The joke that nearly broke us. It began like any typical Saturday evening. A backyard barbecue, a few drinks, and laughter rising through the smoke of the grill. My husband, Ryan, had invited his old college friend, Mark, the man he'd spoken about countless times. Mark was the kind of person who drew attention without trying. Tall, broad-shouldered, effortlessly confident. The kind of presence that filled a room before he even spoke. He was charming, too, and the way everyone leaned in to listen whenever he said something didn't escape me. I wasn't attracted to him, or at least that's what I told myself. But I did notice him. And that night, one careless joke I made would nearly shatter the trust in my marriage. The joke that went too far. Mark had been boasting playfully about his progress at the gym, laughing as he flexed for the group. "You're getting too big, man," one of the guys teased. Mark grinned, brushing it off. Maybe it was the wine or the easy laughter, but before I could stop myself, I said, "Well, I can see why everyone calls him Big Mark." The group burst out laughing. Ryan smiled faintly, but I noticed the way his hand stiffened around his beer can. Someone jokingly nudged him, saying, "Careful, Ryan, looks like you've got competition." Trying to keep the laughter going, I added thoughtlessly, "Come on, compared to Mark, most guys would look small." The laughter that followed felt wrong, forced, uneasy. I caught a glimpse of Ryan's jaw tightening, but I brushed it off, pretending nothing happened. The rest of the night felt awkward. Ryan barely spoke. The silence that followed. On the drive home, he didn't say a word. The car filled with the low hum of the radio, but the silence between us was thick, heavy enough to drown out everything else. When we got home, he walked straight to the bedroom. I followed, trying to sound casual. "You okay?" I asked. He turned to me slowly, his eyes cold and distant. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Just wondering something. How do you know he's bigger?" My stomach dropped. My chest tightened. "What?" I stammered, forcing out a nervous laugh. "Oh my God, Ryan, it was just a joke." But he didn't laugh. He just stared at me, unreadable, steady. "No," he said softly. "You said it like you knew. So tell me, how would you know that?" My mouth went dry. I tried to explain it was just a nickname, something people said casually. But even to my own ears, the excuse sounded pathetic. The look that broke me. He didn't yell. He didn't explode. It was worse. His disappointment was quiet, deep. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "You really thought that was funny? Saying that in front of everyone? You embarrassed me, Claire." My voice cracked as I tried to defend myself. "Ryan, it was harmless." Everyone was laughing. He looked at me, his expression filled with hurt. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Everyone except your husband." Then he grabbed his keys and walked out. I stood frozen, heart pounding as the door closed behind him, realizing I had broken something I didn't even know was fragile. The night that wouldn't end. That night felt endless. I sat on the couch staring at my phone, calling and texting him over and over, begging him to come home. He never replied. When I finally fell asleep, I dreamt of his voice repeating, "How do you know?" In the morning, I called Mark, desperate. "Did Ryan talk to you?" I asked. Mark hesitated. "Yeah," he said awkwardly. "He came by earlier. Didn't say much. Just asked if there was ever anything between us." My heart sank. My husband, the man who trusted me completely, was now doubting me because of one stupid sentence. When words can't be taken back. Ryan didn't return until late the next day. His eyes were red, his voice low. "Do you even understand what that joke sounded like?" he asked. "Do you know what it feels like to hear your wife say that about another man in front of everyone?" Tears rushed down my face. It was stupid. I didn't mean it. He nodded, not in agreement, but in resignation. "It's not about what you meant, Claire," he said softly. "It's about what it revealed." That line cut through me because I knew exactly what he meant. It wasn't jealousy. It was humiliation. The realization that, for a moment, he saw me as someone who could make him small just to make others laugh. Trying to rebuild. The days that followed were filled with apologies. I tried everything, cooking his favorite meals, writing messages, trying to reach him in any way I could. But Ryan stayed distant, quiet, unreadable. One night, I found him sitting outside in the dark, staring into nothing. I sat beside him silently, afraid to speak. After a long pause, he said, "You know, I've never cared about comparing myself to anyone. But that night, I felt small. Not because of Mark, but because of you." My eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "You never made me feel small. You didn't deserve that." He turned toward me, voice trembling. Then why did you make me the punchline? Those words broke me. I realized how easily I'd turned something loving into something cruel, hiding behind humor without realizing how deep it could wound. The promise. We sat in silence, the air thick with everything unsaid. Then slowly he reached for my hand. I don't want to lose you over this, he said quietly. But I can't stay with someone who disrespects me again. I nodded through tears. I understand. I'll never let my mouth move faster than my heart again. It took weeks before things started to feel somewhat normal. Our conversations became raw, honest, and painful, but real. He admitted what hurt him most wasn't jealousy. When people laugh at your wife's joke about another man, he said, you can't unhear it. And I understood. What I learned. Not every joke deserves a laugh, especially if it costs someone's trust. We began rebuilding, one careful conversation at a time. But even months later, his words still echo in my mind. How do you know? Now, whenever I start to make light of something, I stop myself. I've learned that respect isn't shown through grand gestures. It's revealed in the words we choose, especially when others are watching. One careless comment nearly destroyed my marriage. Now, when I look at Ryan, I don't joke. I listen. I love. And I remember just how close I came to losing everything. All because of one line meant to make people laugh.